I remember this one time when we were living in our apartment building, and I was at work, and my wife was at home with our 2 kids. And they were home alone for about an hour or so, because my wife had gone to run some errands. Well, she left the front door unlocked, and there was this big window that was open where you could see inside. And while she was gone, these 2 guys just walked right in. They didn't even knock. They walked into our apartment, turned on all of our lights, and started going through our stuff. Now, what makes this story kind of funny is that the whole time our kids are home alone watching TV, they're like 7 and 9 years old. And the robbers aren't even trying to hide themselves. They're just walking around looking through our stuff. Our kids are watching them walk in and start going through the house. The only thing they did to try and hide themselves was that they turned off the overhead lights, and then they turned on all the lamps. So it was dark in the apartment, but then they turned on all of our lamps. And I can imagine that this must have looked really strange from outside, because our apartment has those big windows. So anyone who walked by would be able to see in, and they would have. Seen these 2 guys just walking through our house with our lights on and not saying anything. But thankfully they didn't do anything. They weren't armed, our kids weren't hurt, we didn't have anything stolen. But this made me think of what if. What if somebody came into your house when you were out there and they turned on all your lights? What does that mean? Someone trying to send you a message? Let's talk about that. What does it mean if the lights were on but nobody was home? Now, I'm not going to tell you the exact meaning because honestly, the meaning will be different for everybody. I am going to give you some possible interpretations, and then you can decide what it means to you. The first interpretation is that it is a warning that you need to pay better attention to your personal safety. Now, many times people assume that, oh, I live in a good neighborhood, nothing bad is ever going to happen to me. But the reality is, crime does not discriminate. It doesn't matter where you live. Bad things can happen to anyone. In fact, statistically, the chances of getting robbed or having some type of break-in is actually higher if you live in a good neighborhood compared to a bad neighborhood. Why? Because in a bad neighborhood, everyone's on high alert. But in a good neighborhood, people let their guard down. They think nothing bad is ever going to happen. Now, I'm not saying that you should be paranoid and think that something bad is going to happen to you at any moment. But what I am saying is that you should be aware of your surroundings. You should take common sense precautions. Just because you have been robbed in the past, does you mean that you woe and be robbed in the future? And so maybe this is a sign for you to start paying more attention to your surroundings. Maybe it's a sign for you to start taking some self-defense classes. Maybe even buy a gun if you feel the need to do that. But just make sure that you are taking some steps to protect yourself because the reality is that bad things can happen anywhere. Another possible interpretation is that it is a warning that you need to start paying more attention to the messages that other people are sending you. There's a good chance that someone knows that you were away from your house. Maybe someone saw your car was gone, or maybe they saw you leave your house. Either way, someone knew that you weren't there, and they decided to come and visit anyway. This could be a sign that this person isn't respecting your boundaries. They don't care about your privacy. They're just doing whatever they want because they think that they can get away with it. Now, in this situation, I wouldn't necessarily think that something bad is going to happen. But I would definitely start paying closer attention to the messages that people are sending me. Start paying closer attention to the actions that people are taking. Just make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. Don't be paranoid. But just be more aware than you were before. Because if this person is willing to come into your house when you're not there, who's to say that they wouldn't do something else that's even more harmful to you? Another possible interpretation is that it's a sign that you need to be more aware of the thoughts in your mind. Sometimes when we're home alone, we let our guard down and we think all sorts of crazy thoughts. We might start thinking about things that we shouldn't be thinking about, or we might start thinking about people in a way we probably shouldn't be thinking about them. And so maybe this is a sign that God is just letting you know that He sees everything that you're redoing. He knows everything that you're thinking. And He just wants you to know that you need to be more careful with the things that you're rethinking about. It's also possible that this is a sign that you need to be more careful with the things that you're re-saying. When we're home alone, we let our guard down and we say all sorts of things that we probably shouldn't be saying. We might start complaining about our boss. We might start talking bad about our spouse. We might start saying all sorts of things that we shouldn't be saying. And so maybe this is a sign that God is just letting you know that He hears everything that you're re-saying. He knows everything that you're doing. And He just wants you to know that you need to be more careful with the things that you're re-saying. So what exactly does it mean if the lights were on but no one was home? The truth is, it could mean something different for everyone. If you're thinking that this was a warning from God, then it's probably a warning from God. But if you're thinking that this was just a random event, then it was probably just a random event. But I do think that it's important that we take every opportunity that we can to learn and grow. And so instead of just brushing this off and saying, oh, it was just a random event, let's take a few moments to think about what it could mean. Let us take a few moments to think about what we could do differently in the future to make sure that nothing like this ever happens to us. For example, if you live in an apartment, make sure that you always lock your doors. Even if you're just stepping out for a few minutes, it's not worth the risk of leaving your door unlocked. If you live in a house, make sure that you have a security system installed. Even if you don't think it will stop a burglar, it will definitely give you peace of mind. And finally, no matter where you live, make sure that you are paying attention to your surroundings. Don't just assume that nothing bad is ever going to happen to you. Be aware of your surroundings and take the necessary precautions to protect yourself. So what's the lesson here? The lesson is that we should always be prepared. We should always be aware of our surroundings. And we should never assume that nothing bad is ever going to happen to us. You know, it's so easy to get caught up in our daily lives and to just go through the motions. But we need to remember that life is precious. Every moment is a gift from God, and we should never take it for granted. When I heard this story about the lights being on but no one was home, my first thought was that this could have been a tragic event. But the fact that it wasn't gives us an opportunity to learn and grow. It's a reminder that we should always be prepared, always be aware of our surroundings, and never take life for granted. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to you. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone else who needs to hear this message. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We would love to have you join us back here for more videos just like this one. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.